Hi, this is Cindy
And Michael.
from Part-Time Permies, and we have a few people in the room already. Your mom says Happy Father's Day.
Hello. Thank you. I don't know if it counts yet.
Everybody was saying Mother's Day counted already, so I
I don't
guess
know.
Father's Day counts now too. Um, so Instant Shop is in the room. Your mom's in the room. Linda Taylor's here. Green Gables. Michigan Mike is in the room. Cool. And there's a Happy Father's Day from Michigan Mike to all the dads. So yeah, I'd say that too. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. I think most of the people in the room might actually be women at the moment.
Michigan
And
Mike is not.
Michigan Mike is not. I don't know if Michigan Mike's a dad or not.
I don't know.
He'd have to let us know. Happy Father's Day. It's sometimes hard to tell with the screen names whether or not they're men or women if you don't know them in person also. So totally.
Crystal and Linda were both over with us and
Justin's.
over at Justin's. We're all
Yeah.
watching Justin.
Yep. So
answering questions.
Tina was over there. I wonder if she'll join soon. White Picket Fence and 13 Moons. Hello, hello. So people are joining in. Today is Father's Day, at least in the U.S. So happy Father's Day.
So the discussion this week was, if for Mother's Day you let her sleep in, you take care of the kids, and you make breakfast.
What do you do for Father's Day?
Father's Day, first of all, in the food world, is a much smaller people going out. It's like 60%, 40 or 60% less.
Yeah.
But so Father's Day, where they say father gets to get the kids on Father's Day.
And gets to hang out with the kids.
Hang out with the kids all day. So the discussion of how did that all work out?
Yep. So just watched a documentary of couple pregnant with triplets. Yeah, triplets, they have a little higher risk pregnancy there, especially for prematurity, but other things too. But that's a whole nother topic. We won't go there. And I do not have triplets. No twins, no triplets. I never did share a picture of the 20-week ultrasound. I should probably do that at some point since I'm 21 weeks now.
That was last week.
Last week, yeah. So I have pictures from last week's ultrasound. Everything looks good, anatomy, everything. So we're good there. Made it through half the pregnancy. That's awesome. So we do have a number of things on the list. I have a ton of pictures.
Yeah, it continues to be fairly wet, but things are actually growing really well and consistent. I mean, a little bit behind, but they're growing really consistent into what would be the late spring, and we really haven't had much of a heat up. So
yeah, we're actually in the 70s this week. We were high in the 50s the other day. It was kind of crazy because when Justin came 2 years ago, we had like 90s almost all of June.
It was getting pretty hot. I think we had a pretty nice day for them here. I think it was in the 80s, mid 80s.
It cooled off for them.
But it had been fairly hot. We had rain up until a week or two before, and then it dried out. In fact, it was starting to dry out when they were here, and it dried out for about 6 or 8 weeks. It got super dry.
So Green Gables, I will let you guys know after we let our family know. So we're not saying quite yet because we haven't let the family know yet. But and I don't feel like telling Mike's mom while she's watching us live. We'll have to do that at another point. So we'll probably announce maybe in the next few weeks.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So we'll have to figure out when. But
Carrie, what did you have at the barbecue?
Yeah, hubby barbecue food. Yeah, barbecue's almost always good. I like almost all barbecue, and she's in Texas, so perfect place for a barbecue.
Well, that's the question.
Texas style.
Is it beef, pork, or other?
Yeah, right. Well, in Texas, doesn't it have to be beef in Texas?
Well, traditionally the best barbecue is probably, I guess, beef, but there's some pork. But then hamburger and hot dog sort of goes on the barbecue, but don't think it qualifies as barbecue.
As barbecue, yeah.
Especially in Texas.
It is barbecuing.
Yeah,
kind of. It's grilling.
It's grilling. Barbecue. So we break it down. There's a lot of ways of doing it, but the best way I've always heard it is it involves hardwood and hot coals, or smoldering coals.
Yeah.
So charcoal briquettes, gas, barbecue
Ribs,
grills.
hamburgers.
Don't quite fully cut
There
it.
you go.
Ribs. All right, there you
Ribs,
go.
hamburgers, hot dogs, and tons of
That's
sides.
that sounds good.
Yes.
We were
That
kind
just
of
sounded.
thinking about doing something well, I've been thinking for a long time about doing something in our neighborhood. We have all
Yeah.
new neighbors over the last couple of years,
Yeah.
and I don't think everybody's met everybody. We haven't met few of them, and we all have fairly big properties, so nobody really hangs out. You kind of can see, we kind of see one of our neighbors or two
Yeah.
of our neighbors. But somebody was talking about 4th of July. I said, well, we'd have to
Plan that.
plan and check because I think so many people have things going on
Yeah.
that I'm not sure that really works.
Yeah. Fire there, grill on the grill, but it was bad. Kids. Oh. Grill. Wait. Did I read that right? We had a fire here today on the grill. It was bad. My kids cooked. Oh no. You cooked, but you always cook.
I did a quick, well, I
Yeah.
had some German uncured, traditional bratwurst, the white, smooth kind, because there's
Yeah.
lots of kinds of bratwurst. But it was an Aldi's. It was just to throw together. Just threw it on the smoker grill for a moment.
Yeah.
In fact, we just had it watching Justin with some.
Yeah,
Just
watch
cooked up
Justin
an
with
onion,
it.
couple peppers, and I had some Dusseldorf mustard and some pickles and pickled veg and a cucumber, and just a quick throw together. So we've been busy all day.
Carrie gained 20 pounds today, really? Lots of
Grill
food.
caught on fire, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that happens.
Yeah.
If you grill enough burgers, they definitely drip grease, or it also shields the heat. If you have a lot of things on the grill, chicken or burgers, the heat that you think, because it dissipates so fast, you can really build it up quick. And once that fat starts coming out of chicken skin or burgers or ribs, you better have
Hi, Tina.
you better have a place to get them out of the way and let things cool down. Yep. But yes, had lots of grill fires. I've had fires in kitchens. We've never burned anything down, but we've had it where you keep having cream spill over onto the drip trays underneath the burners or on the grills. Usually on a busy Friday or Saturday night where it wasn't cleaned real well previously, and you're cooking a lot, so you're running really hot. And when it starts smoking, I don't really worry about it. When you start seeing it smoke black, like tire smoke coming up the back, you kind of watch it, and then all of a sudden there's a moment. I just know you shut it all down, and you move the saute pans, and you kind of have usually a box of salt laying around. That's how we put out fires, to cut the grease, box of salt. But yeah, or if it gets really bad where it just starts cooking under there and the grease ignites, you throw sheet pans over the top to take the oxygen off, so a little salt, and then just wait for it to go down. But yeah, I kind of watch it, and I know when you can deal with it, keep throwing salt on it until the whole thing's just going, and then you're like, all right, stop the line for a moment. we got to put out the stove before we can saute, or the grill before we can finish grilling. Of course, grill, you got to be careful. It makes things taste bad, so you got to stop it.
So yeah, there was
30 burgers. Yeah, classic.
Yeah, that's
and they just start dripping that grease and it goes.
Yeah. So, and I just realized I forgot one picture. I was so rushing. I got to the road so late. So I forgot one picture.
So I did lots of golf outings. I mean, aside from like 4th of July for 900 to 1,000 people, and do lots of golf outings where we rapidly have to do burgers for up to 200 people, or burgers and other things, and
bigger
grills, but you have the same issues. So trying to get them properly cooked and fast enough. And we did a lot of like brisket short rib blends that are like 30-35% fat blend burgers, sometimes, which are that's really what a tasty burger is. But those short rib brisket blends, the fat likes to come out of them a little bit, and you do have to watch them.
Yeah.
So that's
so Tina, thank you. We did have a video release this week today. I didn't get working on it until yesterday when it was rainy, so this was a month old, but it was foraging with Nabe and in May. Not just mushrooms, so you'll have to check it out. We had a short little video on it.
That. It wasn't It was the week after Mother's Day?
It was May 12th. I think it was Mother's Day.
It was Mother's Day, which surprised us.
Yeah.
She had other things going on before that, and we actually had the explosion was that week, and that was the very tail end of it.
Yeah.
There's a few more the next week, but that was really the end of the peak. So she did it on Mother's Day, and they had enough of a turnout. It
They had
was
a
fine.
lot of people
Yep.
there.
Yep.
So yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. A good number of kids, which
We all walked away with, I don't know,
a little
better
pint
than a
bigger
half. We had a pint heaping each, so I called almost a half a pound, or
of more else,
each.
and
So
and the inky caps
a
too.
few inky caps. Yeah, we had a local store that sells some foraged and specialty mushrooms in Battle Creek. The next week or the week before, I saw them out for $69 a pound retail.
Wow,
So
that's crazy.
I think it was a little overpriced, but that $49, $45 to $49 on up is not unknown at all for. In fact, that's kind of the going right for retail.
Well, there's such a short season of them too, so
Yeah, and the loss and everything.
yeah. Um,
Ah,
is there an explanation why nettle doesn't bother her? She does explain it. She says she touches it every day, so she's stopped reacting to it. But the wood nettle, I think, still bothers her. It's
yeah.
the one that you get in the sunshine is not as strong as the one you get in the woods.
And
So,
when they're
and
younger,
they're
they're
two different
not quite
varieties.
as, and they were still a little in between the immature and the
Yeah,
yeah.
she doesn't
Plus,
care.
she rubs some of the other herbs, some of the other leaves and things like plantain and other
Yeah,
things to help neutralize
a lot of the
the
itchiness.
nettle. And also, if you grab it towards the stalks, it'll still sting, but not as much as if you rub the
Well,
leaves.
she was actually
Oh yeah,
feeling
yeah.
it, and she's like,
Well, one guy that
but she does that all the time.
we know, he's crazy. I mean, he's crazy. Chief, but they say he says he eats it raw, and we looked at it. She's like, we don't know if we believe him,
Yeah, yeah.
but she eats it raw. I
She
don't think
doesn't eat it
she
raw.
does eat it raw.
She doesn't eat it raw. She cooks it.
No, she doesn't eat it. I know because we were
Yeah.
talking about Chief, who claimed, I was like, I don't think so, but
No.
he's absolutely nuts.
No, she eats a lot of it, but she doesn't eat it raw.
Yeah.
She eats it in soups mainly, and she definitely cooks it, and she drinks the tea from it. So, so yeah, no, that's one that's in the video. We don't
Yeah.
have a lot of nettle, and actually, I'm thinking
No,
this
we really
plant
don't.
right outside our door here in our growing in our shade, which
Oh, I was
that one
looking at
might be
that. That
nettle.
might be. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but that's the only
I
one on
was
property.
using some kale for my business. I
Yeah.
was doing a garlic tomato sauce with kale
Hmm.
and little pork sausage nuggets at the market last month. And Nabi goes, "Why don't you just put nettle in it? It's free and it's so good." I was like, "Nabi, I could never get away with selling this as I would just kale. Everybody goes kale.
Well, you know what the Dutch
But
do
the
with
nettle
it?
would be very good.
The Dutch put it in cheese.
Yeah, and
Nettle cheese. They do a lot of herb cheese.
yeah, I've had nettle cheese. There's a place in Wisconsin, but they sell it here as a Creamery in Wisconsin. Cheese People has a nice nettle. It's a nettle and onion chive
That sounds good.
semi-hard cheese.
So soft wet egg tonight for Tina. Yeah, occasionally you'll get those. Either it might be a pullet just starting to lay, but they usually just lay small eggs, or
Yeah.
they might need a little
Need
more
more
calcium.
calcium.
So if you would just put a
More
tray
shell
of
development.
put a tray of oyster shells, or take your save all your eggshells and crumble them up and put them in there. That'll give them more access to that. But sometimes that just happens that they'll just have one with a soft shell and then they're back to normal.
Yeah,
So,
but if they're doing it regularly, it's either a genetic issue, which would
or
be bad, which means you really don't have a good layer. But
or
that's
calcium.
rare. It's probably calcium.
Yeah,
But it is possible to have them that they'd have a deficiency in actually forming their shell.
it's just the
But
day thing.
don't expect that.
Yeah. Hey, two family.
Hello.
Welcome. So I do have. Oh, I got one cute picture of the puppy. Since we haven't had any cute puppy pictures, I always get them when she's sleeping though.
She's always sleeping. Sleeps all day.
She does sleep all day. So there's a pudding update picture with her and on her favorite couch with her favorite pillow. She's actually on the same couch right now. But
Barely asleep in a different position.
yeah, she's head at the other end, but
Sleep.
she loves using pillows. It's kind of funny. So puppy sighting, had to have that. Today we moved the chickens. So they are on.
We've been moving them every
week.
7 days. With the grass continuing to grow fast and getting water, we actually want to keep moving them fast so they eat down the grass because it's growing up, but also it will allow it to recover and we can get them back to that area.
Yeah.
As it gets dry, we may actually let them eat it down further so we can slow down and preserve some of the some of the areas.
Yeah, so this is where Gus and the Silkies are, and Gus was more excited about his fresh water at first than the actual new forage. But there is, I'll show you, a fall forage blend that has a lot of barley, I think, in
Barley,
it,
definitely barley.
and then it also has some clovers and things in that. I
And
think
that
there's
was
only
part
three
of that
leaves.
was a fall. That was a commercial commercial overseeding, green manure, fall manure blend
So it also
with the
had
barley in it.
barley, and it also had some brassicas in there because those already flowered. But our new spring forage, this is what it looks like when we just put it down. We put
About 3
some,
weeks ago.
yeah, but that's,
And
yeah, that was about a week
that was
old.
picked all the way dry because that's where the birds were all winter.
Yes.
So it was they had eaten everything green. It was pure dirt. And there's some root material in there.
There's some
And we
turnips.
don't till it or do anything. We
No.
just broadcast spread over the top.
So there's some turnips and things. So a couple weeks older than that would be looking like
That's
this.
about a month older.
Yeah.
Almost 6 weeks, or that's
So
6 to 8 weeks growth there. I think.
yeah. So the first one was
6 weeks.
So this one is probably about a week or two growth, and this one's probably 6
2
weeks.
weeks, and that's at least 6 weeks.
So and it gets even bigger than that, but we're doing that to feed our chickens to try to cut our costs.
We're getting mini turnips that are almost an inch across right now.
Yeah,
In the best part, the biggest ones, and they look really nice. I'm tempted to pull them out for sautéing in butter or putting into some stew.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean
they're a forage. They're designed for a field crop
It is.
for cattle. I don't know if they're going to be sweet, but right now they look perfectly
I
great
bet
for
the
harvest.
pigs would love a forage like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the pigs would
So
go in there.
our geese love those turnip greens, but they don't eat the
They're
roots.
not eating the roots.
So it would be fun just to like.
Maybe we should pick some of the bigger ones and give them back the greens. Although the
Yeah.
greens can be sautéed for us, of course. Turnip greens
True.
are nice.
So
But those baby
so
turnips.
we could forage from our own planted forage. We don't need to grow turnip in the garden. We grow it in our
Not if
garden.
we keep getting turnip seeds like that. I mean, we have thousands of them.
Yep.
But
So
they're growing really well. They're good because they break up the soil. I don't know what they do nutrient-wise.
but they do
As far as adding or depleting, but I know they're generally good. They're really good in your fields and
loosening up compact soil. So
Yeah.
they're really good at that.
And I think cows will probably eat the whole thing, and I know hogs will.
Hogs will
They'll eat
root them out. Yeah. So yeah. So do you have a saddle for the baby yet? No. We probably won't do that.
She's not that strong. Now, if we still had our
She's
Saint
skinny.
Bernard, our Saint Bernard would totally
Yeah.
probably take a 2-year-old.
No, what I'd love to do, what I wanted to do with our Saint Bernard before was train him to pull a cart. Because then you can do cart rides. And she could be trained to pull a light cart, just not too heavy. She's just so skinny.
There is no question that eggs are richer when they graze. Absolutely.
Yes.
Even when we give them a good feed and we give them some scrap, and they're very good, but when we get them out on this material in the spring,
Yeah.
they get darker and thicker yolks. We take the
And there's studies that have shown that they have higher omega-3s,
change the omega-3 balance with more grasses.
beta carotene, and a lot of nutrients go way up when you have them pastured.
You bring the heavy grains down, especially the corn and soy, but just the heavy dried grains, and put the grasses out, and it changes their fat content.
Plus, they're getting all the bugs too, not just the grains. And if you keep them in one spot for too long, they just really don't get any bugs left.
And this is behind
Hi.
our fenced area where sort of puddings run area.
Yeah.
So this was a mowed area before our garden. It was when
I'll go back to the picture.
Yeah, and
that
so
was that was grass. That was
traditional ryegrass, never fertilized, but we just cut it. So we had the video earlier a few weeks ago.
It's coming out.
Oh, it's coming.
Oh no, I did do the forage video.
We may may never mow our lawn this year. So we scalped it in the fall, and then we scalped parts in the spring, and we overseeded with this. And so this is actually areas there is ryegrass and other things, but we're converting that over and letting them kind of mow it down.
Yep.
Now we are actually, when we move them, because they don't eat the plantains. That's the main thing they don't eat. And there's some taller grasses. I have actually been going in and cutting with about a 3.5 inch mower. Not so much to mow the lawn as just to even things out, to start everything kind of growing back a little more consistently. But and then the front we have not mowed except for our very, very front. And we have a little nice area in front of the
Mhm.
house where it's sort of grassy lawn. I mow that as needed, and then puddings
That's
area
it.
we mow as needed, and we're keeping those more manicured.
That's about it.
But otherwise, we are on very, very limited mow to no mow, and we're using the chicken rotation and back to handle what we
Yeah.
used to mow that whole back area, a little,
Yeah.
on need.
Yeah. So we're rotating them through. So basically, I'll show you the picture there again. This is all fenced in, so they're not completely free range because we have too many coyotes and
Yeah, the
foxes and
coyotes and even dogs, some
other
occasionally
dogs.
dogs.
Yeah, stray dogs and stuff. So
Have
this
not
is
really had problems with that electric fence though. For
yeah. You gotta keep it hot.
seems to keep the predators away for sure.
Yeah, they do learn from it. Puddin's touched it twice, but
I touched it. I touched the other fence, which is a plug-in,
yes, that's what she
just a
touched.
week ago when I was moving something. Oh, I was opening the doors and moving something around with the other chickens that was tight, and you could
That one is
and I got
good.
hit pretty good with it.
That's what Puddin got hit with. Was
Oh,
that
I didn't
one?
really. Okay,
Yeah,
no wonder it bothered her so
yeah.
much.
She was so, and she
Because
did it
that plug-in
twice.
one is a charge that can be used on a larger fence or for a larger animal.
Yeah,
So it definitely gives a little bit more of a hit than the battery. The battery is unpleasant, but it's
not as
it's no
strong.
big deal.
But no, she it doesn't associate the shock with the fence though. That is a problem. She associates it with the place in the yard, and she's
There's
really
no fence
nervous.
there right now.
No, there's no fence there right now. She's really nervous about going past that place in the yard right now. So, but after that, I had to leash her to get her through the backyard because she would refuse to go into the backyard at all besides her dog run. So she did not associate with the fence. She associated with the yard, which is not necessarily the point of it, but keeps predators away.
So Tina, all those blueberries and stuff, is that all new or is that already there?
53 blueberry bushes and 2 olive trees and 19 fig
Wow.
trees. Wow.
That's like commercial selling, having that much
I
product.
just want one fig tree.
Yeah, one fig tree that does well bloom can give you a lot of fruit.
We do have a lot of blueberry farms near us.
We have a lot of commercial blueberry, and they're bush, they're tall, they're high bush.
Yeah.
Generally here, and when we were in New York, the low bush and the wild ones grew naturally.
Yeah. And we actually transplanted a wild one from our woods into we transplanted a few, but one survived. So we have a transplanted wild blueberry bush in our garden. We have transplanted wild strawberries in our garden that are going nuts right now. And usually wild strawberries get to be like that big. These are getting about this big most
of them are about
double to
size,
triple maybe.
Yeah.
So
they're new, so you got to put all that in. Wow.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that's a lot of
blueberries.
work.
So the blueberries like
Living fence with blueberries.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea.
Cool. Yeah.
You'll get a lot of deer.
No, like you could keep them on the other side though if you have a fence they can't get through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they like slightly acidic, as you probably know, and well-drained soil, kind of sandy, which soil we have. And do they like phosphorus? We have a lot of phosphorus here. A lot of the fruit trees like phosphorus. And then, yeah, but once they take, they just go crazy.
And Suburban Hillbilly, you're outside of Atlanta, was it? Another southern area, but has fig tree there. The only thing we could grow here would be a Chicago Hardy, and we're really on the northern edge of that
So 4
zone.
foot tall, yeah. So the high bush,
yeah,
that grow just beyond where we're at, and we're talking like 5 miles away is the first commercial big blueberry farms. I think some of them grow
4 to 6 feet.
They cut them at 6, 7, 8 feet. Like,
oh no, not that big.
Some of them get, but that's the U picks. You let them get larger than the commercial picks.
Yeah.
You don't want them too tall because you can't harvest them. But yeah, they're pretty big.
Yeah.
But I also don't know what they're fertilizing some of the commercial ones with.
Yeah, I saw that typo. The gift tree instead of the fig tree. That was awesome. But yeah, so they're 4 feet tall, Homebell, Ratherite, and Vernon. Yeah, I don't even know what type we have in our yard because there were some that came with the house.
We had about 5 in the house. 2 are still there. 1 is going to bear a little bit. They've really suffered. We put the chickens close to them, and we found out they eat every leaf on it. Yeah. Of course, they'll eat the berries, but they love the leaves. And then
they stripped them, and
it's just they've been beat up. So we're trying to get the one good one or maybe two to recover,
back,
but we've
yeah.
lost the rest. And they
Yeah.
weren't exactly where we would place them,
No.
like to place them anyways.
They're not in our fenced-in garden either, so it would be nice. I mean, they also like acidic soil, so they probably would do better closer to the pine trees.
Yeah, although we're slightly acidic, but we
Yeah.
can acidify pretty easily for blueberries.
Yeah, we could just pull some pine
I
needles.
like the Turkish. I like all the figs, but I like the Turkish figs a lot. The brown figs, they're tasty. They're really good for preserving.
Okay.
Do you
Cool.
prune blueberries? There is some pruning. I don't know the exact schedule. I mean, most things are pruned very late fall or through into the early spring. We have a lot of grapevine pruning going on, but I don't drive by the blueberry farms on a daily basis.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're out of our general
We just
drive
let ours
pattern.
do what they want.
So I know they can be pruned
Yeah.
and maintained, but exactly how and when it's.
Our neighbors have 3-foot high blueberries if they
And
they
they
haven't cut them
they
down
cut them in half. Somebody came out before they bought the house and
and trimmed them
pruned
down.
them all the way down. Had no idea. They bear really heavy, so they're
Yeah.
commercial. I mean, just clusters and clusters of the
Yeah, they do.
big
have-
ones. They don't do anything to it.
They basically have a hedge next to their patio.
It's a hedge. They've lightly trimmed it. Once I told the neighbor it was blueberries, he's like, "Oh," he said, he said, "Oh, we didn't even trim it. They paid somebody right."
Dear our nature's pruners. That is true.
So,
Yep.
the ones they have, they don't do anything with it other than they've pulled the berries and they don't fertilize it. They don't prune it particularly.
So you guys want to see what we have wild growing in our woods right now? I have a series of pictures from our walk with Puddin earlier.
Wild turkey.
We do have wild turkey. We didn't run across any of those today, but
Bud Light cans.
that would be
Different
leftover
than wild
from
turkey bottles,
neighbors.
which we don't have wild turkey. We actually have real wild turkeys, not the bottles.
No. Yeah, we do have real wild turkeys. How about this one? Grape leaves. We have wild grapes. I think they're primarily riverbank grapevine. Not sure, but that's the one that grows all over the place around
They
here.
don't bear much fruit. I mean,
They're just tiny.
They're in the shade.
Tiny, seedy fruits anyway, but lots of grapevines, and there are some in the open areas like with the dewberries. We have daisies in peak bloom right now all over the place. So these guys are edible, although they're not extremely tasty. They kind of got, green flavor.
Just wild daisies.
And then we have our yarrow, of course, is just about to hit peak. And everything seems to be most of the flowers seem very white. So those are about to hit peak. The dewberries are just finishing flowering. They're just starting to show some berries on some of them, but the flowers are about to start dying off. And that is your typical blueberry flower, dewberry flower. But this is another variety of flower that we have. I think I showed you guys this last week, but it's the double flower dewberries. What else do we have? All these white flowers. These are slightly pinkish, but those are wild roses, so those are edible as well. And you can eat the petals. You could take some of the leaves and make some tea. You can take the hips when they form. Let's see, what else do we have back here? Hairy vetch. We have that growing everywhere. It helps build the soil primarily, so you don't really use that for that I know of for anything else.
Some people feed a little bit to cattle, but there's debate on how much percentage they can have because there can be some toxicity. Some people say you can give them a fairly high percentage, and some say they don't. But there's also different types of vetch.
Yeah.
But we know that if you feed a real heavy amount of vetch to cows, it will eventually mess them up, and I can't remember what it does.
I don't know if it's bloat or something else.
Something. Yeah.
But this is the leaf and the vine of the vetch plant. So wanted to show that because I did have a question. If anybody knows what this one is, it looks like a legume, like the hairy vetch. I'm not sure if it's another kind of vetch.
Some other type of vetch, probably.
Maybe it's not quite the same leaf pattern though. So
clean shaven vetch.
But it's got a pretty
the multiple bells and the pink, blue, purple flowers pretty much scream legume.
So that's a question, the purple question mark flower. So I want to learn what that is, figure out what it is. But if anybody knows, you can let me know on this chat. Um, oops, I have one that I got to fix the picture on next. So let's do that. Okay. The next one, I know what it is. I don't know of any uses other than this is flea bane. So
Must have something to do with
it
fleas
must
by the
repel
name. By the
fleas.
name.
I don't know. I haven't read anything on it yet, but it is a pretty little flower, so kind of daisy-like as well. Trying to think, do I have any others? I have one other. This one I've found before, but I can't remember what it is. This is,
I've seen that one a lot.
yeah, and I want to say it might be edible, but I think I have it in one of my books. I'll have to look that up and double check. But that is just starting to bloom now too. So we're starting to move from all these white flowers to some purple ones and some orange ones. It's kind of funny because here we go. We tend to have these fields out back. Are they lady slippers? Oh, the purple ones might be lady slippers. I'll have to look that
They
up.
kind of look like that, yeah.
I could see that. But the orange ones, I'm not
And
sure
Aim
what
High
that.
is fairly local to us, so she would be
Yeah.
seeing similar things. Very
Yeah, let's look it up and just see. So the orange ones, I want to say I've seen it in one. No, it's not a lady slipper. It's a different flower than that. It's a bell-shaped flower, and the lady slipper is
You
actually.
can look up other vetches.
Yeah.
See if you get a whole bunch of vetch pictures.
I'll have to do some searching, but I won't do that while you guys are on here. But no, our field, so we have some openings in our trees and back, so some small field-like areas, because this used to be one big farm. So these are kind of in the field areas, and our fields tend to go from like a almost white flower bloom to like a orange yellow flower bloom. If we get our especially if we get our black-eyed Susan coming back, we had them a few years ago, and then we get it switched over to more of a all purple flower bloom. So you get
some
change
of
of
the
color.
identifier apps work pretty well, and some give you some pretty wild
Yeah, some
things.
just,
It's a little harder with Forage. There are more and more Forage things being uploaded.
yeah.
But yeah.
So Plant Snap
Yep.
and yeah, pictures of this. I've seen some of those, but I'll have to look it up.
Hairy beard tongue. Okay.
Going to post a pic in a group of large wingless ant. Oh, I saw that picture. You had it posted somewhere else. Was it on Abundant Permaculture or somewhere? Someone put an answer on that for you.
Fox and Cubs.
Yeah.
Fox and Cubs or meadow hawk weed. Those are two names
the orange one.
for the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Okay. That I think I've heard the word the hawkweed, so it might be the hawkweed. So I'm gonna look that one up. Thank you. You tried Plant Snap, not very helpful.
I tried one that like 1 in 10 was doing anything, but
hairy beard and tongue. Beard, yeah, tongue. Huh. That might be. You guys are coming up with ideas fast.
Yeah, we've seen that a bunch.
Let's see. Does that look more? Yes. Well, yes, I think so.
They have seeds. You can buy them.
They do have seeds.
I don't think we're going to buy them.
They're just coming up with a few different pictures, but yeah. No, that does look like it. Hairy beard tongue seeds for sale. That's funny.
What do the leaves look like? Yeah.
It doesn't show the leaves on here, but I think that
pretty close. Yeah.
It might be that one. Yeah. So cool. Yep. Says my Plant Snap app. 13 Moons, your Plant Snap app, I think might have gotten that. Thank you. Anyway, so I'm just trying to figure out, and I know I've looked some of these up before.
At least one of our pawpaws seems to be doing pretty well.
Yes.
It's 8 inches tall and has a few big leaves, characteristic pawpaw leaves, so they're doing good.
Yep.
And we have a pretty nice shoot on some elderberries. We have a bunch of elderberries need to go in.
We do, and we also have probably have to find a home for that pecan at some point too.
Probably in the front.
So we have a number
out of room in the back. We'll probably put a couple in the front.
Yeah.
We need more nut trees as part of food forest. So
yeah, yep.
We just have to find some area where there's a little bit of light. Pecan trees are supposed to be, is it chestnut or pecan? I think it was chestnut. PJ was over here.
Yeah.
And I was saying, oh, we've got stuff. He goes, typically the chestnut like wide open sun, but he says his best chestnuts, like 25 feet tall, is in a half shaded area. So he goes,
Okay.
who knows?
Who
But
knows?
he says
Who knows what they're supposed to do? So yeah,
winter vetch. That'd be interesting.
the other option was winter veg. Okay, I'll have to look it up. It is kind of
Well, Clara,
veg-like
we ate dinner while Cindy was chatting. I was cooking dinner, and we shoved down dinner
while watching
at the end of the
roads.
roads and right before the show. So we were doing the same thing.
Yeah, right. So we're definitely multitasking it. And I was late to roads because I was finishing putting all those pictures up on here. So yeah, very, very busy. One of the questions the roads had was, what did you do for your Father's Day? Did you do anything on Father's Day? And our list of things that we did.
We got about half. I had a whole bunch of paperwork and things that aren't done yet. I was supposed to make some rhubarb pies
Oh
that
yeah.
hasn't gotten. I've been trying to do that for a week or almost 2 weeks. Haven't gotten that done. I need to do them.
And my dad's birthday is next
Yeah, but some of the rhubarb has
Sunday.
been sitting there for almost 3
Yeah,
weeks and it's
that's
getting
long.
moldy on the edge. So I have, aside from it needs to be done by for next Sunday, I need the pie. I need the rhubarb processed, or I'm going to
Yeah.
lose some of the rhubarb.
Yep. So if you have a pecan tree,
So we have some northern hardy pecans.
Danny at Deep South.
Yeah, a friend of ours has some. In fact, we were just talking about it. We were given about 4 starts, and I think only 1 took.
Yeah.
And I saw him over here, and he goes, "Oh, I'm really sorry about those." And I said, "Well, we thought we burned them in the. They just
The
didn't take, or
greenhouse, yeah.
they're about 2-year-old starts, and they're grown in compost in a seedling starter bed." And we had such a cold, intense winter. He actually said he has a 50% or less return that they got burned.
Yeah.
But we have at least 1, and so it is about half the size of a southern pecan, but it is cold hardy. And I do know other people. There's that get pecans from an Amish family that has a couple extremely large pecan trees less than 30 minutes south of here. So people keep saying, I can't believe there's pecans growing.
In
There
Michigan.
is a cold hardy
Variety.
pecan, and they're supposed to be very sweet. They're not commercially good because of the size, but personally, they're excellent. And I've
the
had
nuts
them
are smaller.
just a little smaller.
Yeah.
But I think they've also bred them up commercially to be bigger. So if you're in the South, Danny, I would.
No, that's Danny at Deep South has them.
Oh, he has
Deep
them.
South
Yeah.
Homestead.
I'm not sure if those, from a Florida or Georgia or whatever, if those would likely
well up
survive.
Well, where are you, the white picket fence? Because white picket, I think they may be further south than we are, so they may work for them, but not necessarily up here. Because we're zone like 6A or so.
Your husband got a new lawnmower because you were mowing the lawn yesterday. That's interesting.
Almost killed myself trying to mow our yard yesterday. Yeah.
I don't know if those pecans would do poorly in the heat. I just know that they are climatized
for the
north, but you don't see they don't see a lot. But again, people push the limits, and small farms use them.
And we're on the northernmost limit of these.
Use them personally, yeah. So.
Okay, 13 Moon said, we spent the day moving our daughters home for the summer from culinary school. And you worked in the dye studio. Cool.
Which school is she going to?
Yeah. Mike went to the Culinary Institute.
And I've taught for 3 different culinary schools.
That's true. So okay. White picket fence is in Missouri. So yeah, a little warmer.
Well, in Missouri, and I think the cultivar that we have here would do great in Missouri.
Yeah.
It gets a little warmer in some areas, but definitely has cool winters. So I think it would be the right thing for Missouri.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Oh, so Carrie, there is a new goat farmer next to me downtown at Market on Saturdays.
Oh, yeah.
A Dutch woman who's been here for 25 years or something.
I think we may have talked about her before when you brought a couple weeks ago.
So she has a milking license and a creamery, but she's sharing the cheese is being done with another creamery, and she helps Dancing Goat or whatever, which is a really good.
White picket fence is 5B in Missouri. Okay. We're 6A.
A creamery. She's a commercial, dairy or commercial cheese creamery, but she's making a cooked stirred goat milk yogurt that has almost no
Not
goatiness. I
yogurt.
mean,
Pudding.
pudding.
It's a pudding.
It's lightly sweetened and
Yes.
very, very lightly thickened.
And it's really good,
goat
and
milk
it's
pudding.
Dutch style. And when he came home with the name of it, I was like, I remember that from study abroad. I love that stuff because you could get it at the grocery store.
Yeah, I do know that Oregon is the largest grower of commercial hazelnuts. Hazelnut. So there is a new cultivar of hazelnuts that. So most of the hazelnuts have been wiped out with disease. There's a new cultivar that's resistant to it, and so there's very recent revived hope of a large U.S. commercial hazelnut crop because most of them come out of Eastern Europe, Eastern Central Europe. And so they would like to bring more of them our way. So there are quite a bit of people growing small-scale hazelnuts in Michigan, and they've been pretty successful with them. So
Lane Community College in
Okay.
Eugene, Oregon, 2-year program, and the 3rd year for hospitality.
yeah, that's very
cool.
common. So I've taught for 2 community colleges
and here.
adjunct, and then I taught for 1 private school in the Bronx for a little bit. So
Yeah. So, trying to, I think I got all the rest of those there. But what did we spend our day doing today? We got up at 5:30.
Yeah, we got chickens moved.
Moved the chickens. That takes like an hour in the morning to do, or at evening or whatever, because we have the 2 groups to move. And then we did cleaning in the house. That was exciting, and laundry. And
Cat's been peeing on the bed. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Yeah, that's a whole nother on his side.
He's treated well. He's not abused. He's
His
fed.
litter boxes changed. I don't know.
There's no good reason.
I think he's complaining about the rain. I can't turn that one off.
Yeah, if it's the rain, there's nothing we can do.
But no, we did get.
He's an idiot.
He's not a cat person.
Well, especially when they pee on your bed.
Yeah, especially your side.
Anywhere in the house, but especially on the bed.
Yes, that's bad. But we did get some cattle panels today.
Yeah, we ran over to Tractor Supply and got some cattle panels, 2 of them.
To make trellises with.
And we stuck those over our pathways in the garden.
So we're going to put some cucumbers on one, and I think we're going to do Indian runner beans on the other this year and see how well they do. And if we like it, we might do it a little more next year. We'll see. So I still have to put those things in the ground. So those will probably go in the ground this week then, because the trellises are now set up. Although I could have done that in a different order, but oh well.
125-gallon aquarium. That's pretty big.
Yeah. I put pecans in my oatmeal every morning for protein. Yep, that works.
If he has a urinary tract infection, it's very selective.
It is, and he's not peeing all the time.
He's not peeing all the time, so.
So, yeah. I mean, we could take him to the vet and see. I mean, that would be another thing, is just to make sure there's nothing else going on.
He's not.
And it's not all the time on the
vet.
It's not every day.
Weird. No. It's been
like
3 times over the last
month. Yeah.
And we have neutralizer spray for the dog and whatever, and we've used that, and we've washed things. We had a friend who said when she moved, her cat started doing it all the time. And so we put some plastic sheeting across the bed, which she and other people recommended just to keep them off so they don't associate with it. But yeah, I don't know what's going on.
He went and jumped on the plastic and curled up and went to sleep on it.
Which is fine, because if he pees on that, we can at least
clean it.
A little easier to handle.
So we'll see how it works. But yeah.
Yeah, so I went out yesterday and bought some OxyClean, which we didn't have around. So our washer has a high heat setting, and so we're like, all right, if he keeps doing it, at least let's try and neutralize
as much as
possible.
It's a pain.
So he doesn't keep doing it.
That's a pain. Dominance. Yeah, he doesn't really.
There is only 1 cat now. There used to be 2, and there's only 1 dog.
Does he know I'm pregnant? Now, he's not peeing on my side of the bed, though. He's peeing on his side of the bed. So that could be, but, I think Puddin knows. She's kind of put her head up to my belly a couple times to just kind of rested her head on my belly. So, normally means they have something medically wrong.
Yeah.
If they're peeing all over the place all the time, yes. But if it's
he's doing it selectively,
it's just like once a week,
in the same place or near the same place.
if he has any
Okay.
slight residual smell to it, that area, he'll
Yeah,
go
which
back
is
to the
what.
same place.
Well, the other
So
thing
yeah,
is Pudding gets up on the bed a lot, and she's
yeah,
been jumping up on the bed, so he may be resisting that.
yeah.
And we think Pudding's going into heat, so maybe Pudding smells different. I don't know.
I don't know.
But
Yeah,
she's not leaving any mess, so.
no, she isn't.
So
So
I don't know if it's Pudding bringing it on, but
yeah, no, I mean,
they're both taken care of and
yeah.
attended to, and
So we'll see.
so.
We'll see. I mean,
Oh,
he's
there's
not acting out any other way, and it's not all the time, every day, or anything like that either.
and then
Which
he
is,
comes and sleeps next to you on the bed.
yeah, he'll come and sleep. It, he always sleeps by my leg. So, you know, I'm like, usually they don't pee where they sleep. That's just odd. But yeah, we'll see. We'll figure it out. See if we can either break him of that or with the plastic over the bed during the day, or we'll
We
take him
can
to the
close
vet.
the door, but he'll end up peeing somewhere else. I mean, if he
I don't
keeps
know.
doing it, or if he keeps doing it consistently, then I would expect it to be
Health issue.
medical.
Yeah.
But this,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I
this
don't
is a
know.
cat brain issue.
I don't know what it is. Even if it's random, probably, yeah, good idea. See a vet. But okay. So should we get off the cat issues and go to anyone have any questions, cooking questions, or anything along those lines? Or what else did we? You had the brats today. I'm trying to think. I don't have any pictures of local things this week.
Yeah,
So
well, I guess the last super local thing was the Shady Side beans
beans.
are
Yeah.
turnip greens, not from our planted greens, not from the yard,
Yeah.
and one of our chickens that we'd shredded over that. Um, well, we mixed that. What did we have that with? I did the beans with.
We had our chicken, we had the shady side beans, and we had it wasn't
No,
turnip
no,
greens, it was
mustard
mustard
greens.
greens.
No, but I
Yeah,
used the beans with something else.
I don't remember.
Oh, did I put the beef? No, I put the potatoes in. I had some cube steak,
Okay, aim
which
high.
was overly
See, aim high.
cut. They'd either
Yeah.
cut too deep or cut too many times.
Oh,
It was
right,
falling
right, right.
apart.
Yeah.
But I didn't put that over the beef.
No.
I put the beans with something.
Salmon.
Oh, salmon. I had some coho salmon.
Yeah, that was good.
And I just quick pan seared that. Or grilled. Did we grill that? I grilled that.
Yeah.
And I just threw that over some of the beans. It actually still had a couple torn pieces of chicken, but the intent was actually the beans and the grains, but the chicken in there was fine.
Okay, you want something that is a little different. Well, it depends on if you like spicy. One of the things he came home with on Thursday was awesome that we only have at this point, basically, when you teach that class. You taught a community class on Trinidad cooking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On
So,
Thursday night, I did another rotation of the Trinidad class.
and that was so good. I love Trinidad.
So we always
Trinity
make a
food.
ton of food, and we also were only about half full for that class. I think so many people graduating and whatever else. I mean, it's a community.
Yeah.
Anybody wants to sign up, but I think the time of the year, because my classes are usually sold out, and so that was only about half full.
It was, I think, graduation night
I think
for
it was a weird, yeah,
a lot of
kind of
schools.
caught, and it was the very last day of the semester.
Yeah.
So yeah, Thursday night.
And you made pilau.
Chicken pilau, which is a
pilau.
national dish of Trinidad.
That's really good.
We made pepper sauce, which is extremely hot, with habanero, Szechuan pepper sauce.
Doubles.
We made doubles, which is a fry bread with a curry chickpea filling.
That's
and
a Tobago
condiments.
thing. Not a Trinidad thing on that one. That's Tobago only.
Is it really?
It
well,
is
everybody
only.
eats it, but that's where, yeah.
Yeah, that's Tobago only. And then the roti. Was it?
Oh yeah, we did a del peri roti, which has a ground and spice lentil.
Yep.
Filling in the middle of really thin, separating the sheets on the roti.
And then you brought home a drink I really, really wanted to drink, but I couldn't.
Spice hibiscus.
It's called sorrel juice over there.
Yeah, sorrel, same in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Brought some of that home.
And I can't have hibiscus during pregnancy, so couldn't drink that. But that is a really, really good drink.
Yes, we did all that. Last time we did callaloo soup also, but we cut that one out.
You had something else in there, didn't you? What greens?
We did some ground provisions, and we had some bagna choca.
Okay, yeah, the choca.
Which is a
eggplant.
Roasted eggplant that's seasoned with a little hot pepper and wild cilantro. It's very similar to a baba ganoush, but it has a little different flavor profile. So really, really healthy food in Trinidad due
Yeah.
to the freshness, tropical. So many roots and greens and vegetables coming from both the Indian and the African Creole
So
diets.
what were the ground provisions?
We had plantain. We had, oh, funny thing was, bought some burro bananas, and the day before we were going through the order. I go, these are, I'm looking at them, they're fat. I'm like, these are burro bananas. We had burro bananas a few weeks ago. Remember
Oh
those fat
yeah,
ones?
yeah,
You kept looking at. They had to be really, they have to be
yeah.
really almost brown. And they were right next to them, and the guy bought them, who was doing the purchasing for the school. I said, those are burro bananas, and we tried cooking them, but they don't cook. So we had plantains, we had cassava or taro root, we had some edo, and we had some yellow yam, the big African or Caribbean yams. We had, let's see, we had something
What
else.
can't I have that I'm really missing? Um, Oberon.
A decent beer in the summer.
Bell's Oberon.
Yeah,
It's a seasonal beer that only comes out like it comes out in April,
yeah, it's only supposed to be consumed. It's a
it's
wheat
a hot
beer. It's a light wheat beer.
yeah
So it's supposed to be consumed
in
where
the
and when the
summer.
sun is shining. So
Yes.
they don't make it for 6 months or have it available for six
So by the
months.
time I deliver, it won't be
I hear
available.
rumor they're selling it now in Texas and Florida in the winter though.
Yeah, because it's hot there year round.
I don't know if they're selling it year round, but I hear they have it available.
Yeah. So that is a good question. Other things,
A
well,
soya ramen, good recipe for a soya ramen. I
we
don't know if I have a one that stands out particularly. I mean, I just had a ramen. I stopped at a ramen shop.
yeah,
Potential client.
because you sell ramen
I
locally. You
sell a
don't do it,
basic. I sell a sort of a non-traditional.
yeah, but you don't do
Um,
that online. So that's a fresh
it's a
item.
fresh frozen. It
Yeah,
does not dry well.
yeah. So we can't
Yeah,
ship that one. Sorry, guys. But if
yeah.
anyone's in the
I
Kalamazoo
kind of like
area,
my favorite ramen might be the tokansu ramen, which is the boiled pork bones, and
hmm
they actually boil it hard after they extract a lot of the gelatin from the pork bones. So a lot of the fat becomes emulsified in it, so that requires making a long cooked stock. And it's sort of one of the richer ones, but it's pretty well known. I think it is pretty good.
oh, I just thought of another thing I'm missing, but I don't miss it as much because it's not as available here as it is when we lived on the East Coast. It's just really good sushi,
Yeah,
which
I really haven't had any sushi.
we don't have a good sushi place here anyway.
There's a couple
So
places that are okay, but yeah, it's just tough.
we
It's
had a
not the
really
same.
good place in New York that wasn't far from us that
Yeah,
we would go to, and yeah, so I guess I don't miss it just because I miss it because the region, not so much because of pregnancy. So I don't think of that, but yeah,
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 we haven't had. I mean, fish. I pretty much keep it to salmon. We don't have a good independent fish store here. Even at Costco, I'll go there because they're in the East Coast. They keep really good fish and they move it super fast. Even here, you have to watch. I sent back something once for a refund. I bought it on like a Monday, brought it back the next day. It had been through the
yeah,
weekend. It was a snapper, and I've never had anything look like that. It looked fine in the package, but it was starting to get slippery and smell. I'm like, I don't need to do this.
no.
And of course, they take it back right away, but I never saw that in New York because they move it so fast and
Yeah.
people are more particular. It's just a couple days more
In New
time on
York, you could get a lot of
transfer.
good fish at the farmers market because it was even though it was a local farmers market, it was within 80 miles, so it was their definition of local. You had the Long Island Sound right there, and you had all these fishermen who go out on the Long Island Sound and go fishing, and that bring it to the farmers market, which was nice. So,
Yeah.
but so that's what
I would say if you're trying to make a quick ramen, I mean, soy ramen is nice because you're using a soy base, and I actually kind of like tamari sometimes. Tamari, of course, is it's brewed like beer, and when you get an artisan soy sauce, it has a perfume and richness like a really nice malty beer, even though it's salty.
hmm,
But there's nuances that you never get from Kikkoman or something like that or whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of really good soys. Of course, there's all kinds of mushroom soy and sweet soy and black soy and other things, which are all have their own different purpose. Um, but I like using miso also because miso you can stir in miso so fast as a base with over chicken stock or over whatever, and a little soy sauce and a little miso paste pretty much sets up an instant soup base that'll get by.
Yeah.
Yeah, coconut aminos work pretty well. A lot of people use them to replace soy sauce. I don't think it has exactly the same flavor, but it does the same thing as far as bringing out amino flavor, which is what's in soy.
Hmm.
So yeah, a lot of people use it for vegetarian, vegan, and getting around other
Other soy
dietaries.
stuff.
So yes, I think it's a really, really good tool. I just don't expect it to be exactly the same.
Yeah. Oh, another thing I missed that I'm probably not as good. I'm not supposed to eat my eggs like undercooked, and I do occasionally. I'm
Not
not
real
so
worried
worried
about that.
about it.
Even the commercial number of
When they're
contaminated
ours.
eggs is pretty low.
Yeah.
When you're talking about our eggs, which, if ours are contaminated, they're all contaminated. And if they're not contaminated, they're
I've never
not.
gotten sick from
Yeah,
our eggs
no, I
before,
don't think
so
they're, I think that's pretty low risk eating our own eggs.
yeah.
Um,
But so I've been bad about that. I haven't. Does avocado oil have any
It's
taste?
pretty minimal. A lot of people, I haven't cooked with avocado oil a lot. I have access to it.
They want to use it, but they hate avocados.
Yeah, no, it's not going to taste really avocado-y.
I had
It's
someone
like
come to
it's
me.
as expensive or more expensive than olive oil, and I have access. Not only do we sell a little bit of olive oil,
Yeah.
but I have access to quite a bit of olive oil variety, and I use grapeseed oil. I use olive oil. Use a little bit of coconut oil occasionally, just when I want it. But I have a organic, less refined coconut oil that tastes lightly coconutty, so I use that when I want it to taste coconutty. Like making basmati rice with the coconut oil is really good. Um, or like red beans and rice and thyme Jamaican style with the coconut oil. It's um, yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about having an avocado. And a lot of the thing with avocado is not so much the taste, it's the texture. So that's not there. It's oily, thicker like an olive oil. So,
Yeah.
but a lot of people are using it.
I actually had someone who came who she did tell me that she feels like she's losing her taste, and her biggest issue was olive oil. She really wanted it to taste like olives, her green olives. And she goes, I don't taste it. She goes, but she came and tasted our olive oil, and she goes, it's fine, but it just tastes like oil to me.
Well, we
Yeah.
and we sell a
She's losing
medium.
her taste
Yeah, we
buds.
sell a medium body, so she's going to want to go to a very. I find
Yeah.
Kalamata, which is the predominant Greek oil, is pretty strong. It's not my preferred. Just some of the nuances, but some of the Italian oils can be very, very grassy green or very astringent and bitey. And same with like the California oil that's available right now is pretty well priced and decent. But I find it pretty bitey. So she may need something that's a little more aggressive, and we purposely have a real nice medium. It's not light on flavor, but yeah, it's balanced and medium, so it doesn't overpower.
Can you talk about when to use the different oils?
Yeah, so when you're doing your basic cooking, you're like, so corn oil is more expensive because corn's more expensive. Vegetable oil can be a blend of almost anything. Frequently, it has a high percentage of soy in it. So people that are trying to limit soy, look at your oils and see. You can get refined oils in from almost any seed plant. So even cottonseed, which is poisonous, they can remove the toxin. So is canola oil or rapeseed oil. It's the same thing. They remove it, and some people won't eat things like that because they think some of the toxin is still in there. However, it is the way it's removed, it's not there. So I'm not. There's no concern that I'm aware of eating either one of those. Um, so vegetable blend oils are generally fairly healthy, and sometimes you know what they come from, and sometimes you don't. And they should be cheap. So when you're just tossing things, you want it neutral. Even some vinaigrettes where you use a lot of oil, you might use at least half or 2/3. Might just be a plain vegetable oil as a filler. Um, and then as you get ready, like when you're dressing your greens for salads, or you're stirring in finishing oil to finish a vinaigrette that you've made, or you're doing a stir fry or something, then you can get more particular about using an oil with a particular flavor, a hazelnut oil or nut oil or olive oil that's extra virgin and tastes like whatever it's supposed to be. So the less refined, if they have any sediment in them, they're going to have flavor. They'll also go bad faster. Walnut oil is really nice, expensive for using a little walnut oil to finish a salad. Um, and then you can look at the health properties. So your basic corn, soy, whatever, are kind of so-so oils, but they're abundant. When you get in, you get better omega-3 balance with your olive oils, avocado oil, even canola and grapeseed oil have really nice omega balance. And also, I think a lot like grapeseed oil has a lot of vitamin E and something else. Some are a little more sticky and flow. Some flow a little more, and some are a little more viscous. It has to do with their properties, so they can whip up into vinaigrettes, say, a little bit differently, but you get used to that. And then I take my really good oils, and that's where I limit heat. If they're cloudy or less refined or strained, that's where I don't want to put a lot of heat. Where I'm like stir frying, spending extended time on high heat, I will put them into something that's hot at the end. Usually they're expensive already, so I will do my primary cooking with a neutral or a blended oil, and then I will finish the flavor with good olive oil or something else. So my go-to is a blended grapeseed. It's a primarily canola, like 50% or 60% canola, a little bit of grapeseed oil, and some olive oil blend. I like using that. It is more expensive, but it's a lot less than extra virgin olive oil, cheaper, extra virgin, and more expensive than vegetable. But if I need a lot, or if, I don't even have a fryer, but if I have to quick pan fry something, I'll actually go buy vegetable oil. And
So,
I like canola for a lot of things, but I'm not too particular on my base oil. So healthy high smoke point oil, grapeseed oil, or canola. There's no question those two. Canola is way cheaper than grapeseed, and grapeseed varies a lot in price depending on where you buy it. I think it's just, I guess there's some that are pressed a little different, but I don't. Grapeseed oil is extremely neutral in high heat, and canola fries really well. The one problem with canola and frying, and it is commonly used for frying commercially, it gives almost no flavor. Corn gives a slight corn flavor. Soy is okay. Cottonseed's pretty good. Peanut oil is amazing fry oil, but it's
so many allergies. So
not usually. That's the misnomer.
Okay.
Peanut oil is highly refined, so when you refine soy oil, peanut oil, and it's not like you can get green peanut pressed oil for dress, like in Germany and stuff, or pumpkin seed oil and peanut oil and things for dressing salads. It's like extra virgin olive oil. That you'd have an allergic reaction. When you have the super refined, fully purified peanut oil, it should not bother most people. Some people might, but it's not likely. Coyotes in the front yard.
That's not good.
But yeah, for your general high smoke point for searing, sauteing, shallow frying, or deep frying, I go with canola. But if you want to do a blend with some grapeseed, that's great. Clarified butter actually has a pretty high smoke point too. Not for frying, but for pan frying. But that's expensive.
Yeah.
But it's tasty, and it's fairly good for you. But I wouldn't recommend that for day to day.
So yeah. Any other cooking questions?
And lard, refined lard, obviously tastes and fries
bacon
good,
grease.
but it doesn't have as well. Bacon grease doesn't have a good smoke point because it's not refined.
But it tastes good.
Yeah, it tastes good.
Or duck fat.
Duck fat has a low smoke point also.
Tastes good though.
Tastes excellent.
Yeah. So, but
yeah.
I'm trying to see. I think we've got all the questions in there. Any other cooking questions, or we should wrap up because it is also 10 o'clock at night.
Make your own butter. Well, that's got to be good butter.
Yeah.
We have a couple Amish families that sell butter at the markets, but it's pretty good. There's a couple other people doing some butter. Some of the best commercial butter I ever had, if you come across it, it's expensive, but Vermont Creamery, which is nationally distributed, Vermont butter and cream, butter and cheese. They do goat cheese, but they do dairy butter. It's all farm share and negotiated. They don't have any of their own animals, but they have a consortium that they help out the farms. They just and they decide to grow to certain standards as a group, and they have a lot of input from the farmers. And then they go pick up their milk. Anyways, they do butter and they do sea salt infused butter in little crocks or in logs. You're gonna have to go to a specialty store or a cheese shop for it. Um, but you want to talk about some good butter. That stuff's amazing.
Yeah. Pastured eggs for your HDL, omega-3s in there.
Yeah, well, and that's where
That's that was the whole
pastured
problem.
eggs, grass-fed meats,
Yes.
Canola oil, grapeseed oil, olive oil, fish. Those. There's really no good oil, fat, and bad fat. But and when you're trying to push to reduce cholesterol issues and LDL, those are the ones that are going to help push.
HDL is the good one.
Yes.
Sure you don't need to control your LDL?
Yes. Well, no, you're pushing towards the HDL.
No, you're
probably.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Usually it's the LDL that's high for people, and HDL is in proportion to low. So you want the HDL and LDL at the right balance. But okay. Somebody earlier.
Free boneless chicken breasts.
Yeah.
Fall off a truck.
Ideas for boneless pork chops.
Boneless pork chops.
Sorry, I missed that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they griddle up. I mean, they griddle up and fry or grill up kind of nice. If you bread them, they stay pretty tender. If you do a quick breading or like do a pan fry with a little panko crumb. They get pounded out. So if you pound them out really thin, it's either a schnitzel or a Milanese for Italians, or in Japan they do what's it called?
Don't know.
Oh man, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Same thing. They do a panko crumb, thin pounded out pork chop, deep fry it or pan fry it, and so in Japan they put a brown curry, a Japanese curry over it, and then like sticky rice. It's really good. That's really common. And then in Italy they pound it out and do a pan fry, and they do things like lemon butter sauce or caper butter sauce, white wine, or tomato sauce. So pounding and frying them. If you can brining them and smoking them. So when they're done as a whole loin and cut thin, it's the Germans double smoke. It's called Kesselrippchen. That's amazing. It's like a big slab of pork loin smoked.
Ooh.
But I think it's a little harder to do with the thin ones. But you could definitely cure them in like a day or two. What else? There's quite a bit. But they can get repetitive. I mean, that is the problem with boneless meat, as you go through so much of it and you're like, all right, what else do I do? So you got to keep changing the flavors. So you can basically and the other thing you take with boneless pork chops is they're very lean. You can dice them up into like 1/4-inch little strips or 1/2-inch strips, and you can stir fry them.
Yeah, of course.
Pork stir fry with a good dose of soy or whatever else, or ginger garlic scallion. Pork makes a beautiful stir fry.
Yeah.
Not quite as good as when you roast and you do like the double cooked pork. That stir fry is even better. But fresh pork stir fry is nice. It takes on flavors. You can toss it in sweet soy or sriracha or sambal, depending if you like it hot, and make a little orange glaze. So so you can dice them up, you can pound them out, you can bread them, and then of course you've got grill and saute and your usual, or you can kind of smother them and just put a bunch of sauce on them.
Yeah.
When is pecan harvest? Late summer.
And they do this every year. Mom has 6 pecan trees. Don't see any fruit on them.
Yeah, they drop pretty heavily. I think they bear, assuming they're flowering, and 6 they should. We don't even know if they need a second one to pollinate. I don't know what the issue would be.
Yeah.
I know in the south where there's I was in in southern Georgia and northern Florida and stuff. There's huge old ones, and they just shed like walnut trees do here, and you just go pick them up.
Yep.
fight with the animals for them. Ginger, yeah, ginger works with pork. You can kind of marinate also the pork chops, and because they're thin, they'll marinate in over a few hours or between breakfast and dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go too crazy or throw them in a Ziploc bag overnight at most. But yeah, you can do a lot of fun marinades for
Yeah, a
sure.
nice way to do chops. You can then sneak it into your stir fry, and the other half might not even know that
Um,
you reused it.
fried rice, pork fried rice,
Yep.
dice it up small. Get your frozen vegetable blend to make it easy with your peas, onions, carrots,
Unless you're
and
growing them.
yeah, you can and whatever. And so you make some rice. So the key to that is make the rice, rinse the rice ideally, and then cook it so it's fluffy and a little drier, and then lay it out on a pan and let it sit in the refrigerator and dry out for a few hours.
Mm.
Typically, fried rice is made with the rice from the meal before or the day before, held chilled because it collapses and it'll fry up better. But yeah, I mean you can get pork fried rice or combo fried rice with a little bit of pork and seafood go together really, really well also. The combination, they both have high aminos and umami. So if you can take like a seafood blend or some shrimp or something and that with pork is a really, really nice combination. So like in Portugal and in Asia they do that a lot. So they'll do like a clam broth with a pork chop.
Late harvest in late October or November after the freeze for the pecans.
Really?
For Tracy. Yeah, I didn't know. We
Interesting.
haven't grown them.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean
we
we
just have
get
our first one.
I see them at the market from that. Yeah, I mean it's I guess it's more than late summer. It's
Fall,
fall. It's
I guess.
middle fall when they start bringing them out.
Yeah.
All the way to November.
Huh. Um.
We love pork. Yeah, I mean I don't. It's hard to hate an animal or flavor in itself. There are a few people that have some
My
allergies.
sister doesn't like pork. My sister, except for bacon, she doesn't like pork.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Some people might
and
have an
one of our friends
aversion, but
doesn't eat pork except bacon.
yeah. But I think a lot of it has to do with the way it's cooked and traditionally how lean it got from the 70s or
Yeah.
80s through the 90s. As you get to heritage and fattier pork, except for remember I did Cuban pork for your family and they absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And that was like 3 years ago and they still
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah.
So I think it has more to do with the animal itself and the way you prepare it, which is the same with all food.
Yeah.
Uh,
But they have a friend who raises pork, and she doesn't like anything but the bacon. But that might be because the way you make it is really what it comes down to. What you do with it.
I mean, slow roasting, but you can't slow roast pork chops if you have to have a whole joint like a shoulder. One of the cheapest things you can buy for large cuts of meat is pork shoulder, and and it's smaller than a ham and fattier, so it roasts. And you can even get half shoulders. It just roasts so nice, or barbecues nice.
Okay, guys, we have a bunch of people that are taking off because it is getting late, and we were gonna go 10 minutes ago. So, but as usual, you get us talking about food, and we can keep
Yeah,
talking.
thin pork chops are good. That's a good find when you get them in bulk. It's worth it. You can figure out how to use them.
As I said. So we are going to be back next week. We'll see. My dad's birthday is next Sunday, and he's going to be visiting. So maybe we can see if he'll say hi. He's been in some of my videos and helped me build things. So, yeah. So we will see you guys next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sorry, I got distracted. So same time, same place.
Tell us what you did with your pork chops.
Yeah, right? Let us know. Bring that back to us. And if you want us to show a picture, you can always send us a picture and we'll put it up on here for you. Anyway, what? You were about to say?
Good night.
Okay. Good night.
Yep.